Yes! You know who it is. It is I. One eye. And I got a real good one for you here, so today, man. I want to get straight to my Bible in the book of Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 40. You're going to like this one. Trust me, you're about to like this one. Isaiah 40 verse 22. And it says here, He sits enthroned above the circle of the earth, and its people are like grasshoppers. He stretches out the heavens like a canopy and spreads them out like a tent living. My Bible says in Isaiah 40 verse 22 that the Lord just stretch out the heavens. You ever stretch out a rubber band? Or stretch out like an elastic band? You ever blow a balloon till it bursts? Or even blow up like piece of chewing gum till it stretch out and you turn like a bubble in your mouth? You know, it's expanding, right? It gets stretched out. And the Bible says that God do the same thing with the heavens, right? You see them stars out there, we look up in the sky at night and see that God just stretched them out, right? So now, when was this book of Isaiah written? Watch and see what can happen here, so because I can show you say very interesting, alright? I can show you say so interesting, man. Like, listen, right when I first learned this thing here, so it blew my mind and it gonna blow your mind here now too, man. Your mind gonna just turn into a bunch of potatoes. Like, I even got the wrong thing here, so man. That's anxious. That like I type in the wrong thing, man. I want the book of Isaiah. Right. So you click book of Isaiah. So watch this here now. Now these skeptics, right, that is right, these things trying to discredit the word of God, right? They don't really want to believe that the prophet Isaiah is who write the whole book. So they said here that Proto Isaiah chapters 1 to 39 containing the words of the 8th century BCE prophet Isaiah, Deutero Isaiah, which now is chapter 40 to 55, the word of an anonymous 6th century BCE author, right? Okay, now I don't agree with these big head skeptics, right? That trying to divide the word of God and say that is more than one person that write it. But living for argument's sake, just go with the 6th century BCE as the time when chapter 40 was written, right? Even if we accept that is so now. You know the 6th century is still more than 2,500 years ago, right? And back then they had no satellites in space, they had no telescopes, man, they had no cell phones nor the TV for that matter, right? So back then they ain't even had a bicycle. So how on earth would these so-called primitive people, these uncivilized people, these so-called superstitious people, all these hundreds and hundreds, thousands of years ago, how would they have known that the universe is expanding unless they had some divine intervention? Watch what the dictionary actually says now about the expansion of the universe. Isaiah was accurate. The Bible itself was accurate. It was accurate. The expansion of the universe is the increase in distance between any two given gravitationally unbound parts of the observable universe with time. Now watch the history here, so let me scroll down to history. In 1912, Vestor Slipher discovered that light from remote galaxies was redshifting. Now I can't get into all the details of what redshifting means because I can go over a lot of people's heads, right? But watch this here now, which was later interpreted as galaxies receding from the Earth. They're getting further from the Earth, right? In 1922, Alexander Friedman used Einstein field equations to provide theoretical evidence that the universe is expanding. So it was only in the 19th century that the big head scientists that don't want to believe in the God, right, started to even theorize about these things and all, right? It was only around this time in the 19th century, talking about over 2,000 years later, that science started to catch up to what the Bible said. Swedish astronomer Nut Lundmark, I don't know why his mother or his father named me Nut. I don't even want to get into that. But he was the first person to find observational evidence for expansion in 1924. So science did not even recognize the evidence that the universe was expanding until in the 20th century. All down in the 1920 this, that 1920 that. That's in the 20th century. Thousands of years after the Bible already made this thing plain. So you want to tell me that there ain't a God? You want to tell me that there's not a creator that bring about these things? Watch this last paragraph here. So, based on large quantities of experimental observation and theoretical work, the scientific consensus is that space itself is expanding, and that it expanded very rapidly within the first fraction of a second after the Big Bang, approximately 13.8 billion years ago. You can imagine that, eh? Now watch this, we get a little deeper here, so on, alright? Let me click on Big Bang. Let me click on Big Bang, because let's talk about the Big Bang theory, right? Let's talk about how the whole universe came from a Big Bang that happened 13.x amount years ago, right? But you ever think about the history of the Big Bang, where the theory originally came from? You ever think about that there, so? Watch this here, so now. This part here, so should really give us a little lessons, right? This should give us a little lessons. Wait. Let me watch this. Let me watch this here. It says here, let me get it. The Big Bang theory developed from observations of the structure of the universe and from theoretical considerations. In 1912, Vesto measured the first Doppler shift of a spiral nebula. I know it got a lot of big things in here that a lot of we ain't gonna understand, right? But watch this. And soon discovered that almost all such nebula were receded from the Earth. He did not grasp the cosmological implications of this fact, and indeed, at the time, it was highly controversial whether or not these nebula were island universes outside of our Milky Way. Okay, so then it wants to talk about some other thoughts, but here now, it comes down to get a bit more interesting, right? Because it says here in this paragraph right here, in the 1920s and 1930s, almost every major cosmologist preferred an eternal steady-state universe, and several complained that the beginning of time implied by the Big Bang imported religious concepts. You see that there, so? that one make me cough. Huh? The scientists was complaining. The big head know-it-all atheist scientist was complaining that the beginning of time implied by the Big Bang imported religious concepts into physics. This objection was later repeated by supporters of the steady-state theory. This perception was enhanced by the fact that the originator of the Big Bang theory, Lemaitre, was a Roman Catholic priest. Arthur Eddington agreed with Aristotle that the universe did not have a beginning in time, that the matter is eternal. A beginning in time was repugnant to him. So basically, what we have going on here is that it was someone who claimed to be a Christian, a Catholic, somebody who said, I believe in the Bible, that proposed the Big Bang theory in the first place. We understand the implications of what all of this here so is really trying to tell us. We understand that centuries ago, long before modern science discovered that the universe was expanding, long before scientists in the 20th century learned that the universe had a beginning and that it was expanding, that the Bible already had it right over 2,500 years ago. We understand that there, so one I let you know, right? That them big head scientists with all the university education, with all the PhDs and all the arguments that I like to make, right? That none of them is smarter than God. When Isaiah tells you in the book of Isaiah that this is the word of the Lord, and he tell you the vision of Isaiah, you understand? They get from Yahweh, from the Lord. You okay? He didn't need no university degree to know that the universe had a beginning and that it was expanding. That one for lick the atheist, you know. That one for lick the. So you see me, I might not got that big PhDs. I mean, I went that big university education, that type of thing. But I can know this though. I know this though. That I trust my Bible. I trust my Bible implicitly. You hear me tell you? It was right in Genesis 1:1 when it tell you that in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. But all the big scientists all through the 19th and 20th century thought that the universe was eternal, that it didn't have no beginning. When the Bible was right all the time. And then the Bible was right. That the universe was expanding. That God he stretched it out. Stretch out the heavens and it can't be living. Stretching it out. Like scientists only recently discovered that in the 20th century. With all them based up like telescopic technology. Huh? And so all the cosmologists and physicists and astrophysicists, you had to put the astro in front of the physicists. I don't know why. And all the other is and just all of them with all the big education. No catching up to what the Bible says. And you notice in the same Isaiah 40 verse 22. Wait, what? But my camera left me. You see, it says Isaiah 40 verse 22, right? It says he dwells above the circle of the earth. That the word of God already tell you that the earth was a circle all the way back then in them days. In fact, the Hebrew word there translated circle literally means sphere. Now, I'm a Hebrew scholar, I can't pronounce the word properly, right? But you can research what I just tell you. Understand what I tell you, right? So, when in a superstitious time, when most people thought the earth was flat, right? Cause people already know that it was wrong. Need I say more that there is a God? Have to be a God, man. Have to be a God. So I want out for now, right? One day they just want to drop that one day so for you. But you all have a good day, right? Bye bye and God bless.